Dave Straley. This is Spolyar. We're here at Long Beach State Boathouse, starting what we hope will be the continuation of some short videos and sound recordings of people recording what they did, when they did it, when they were with Long Beach State crew, trying to build a repository of historical accounts of what all has transpired from day one. And we're very fortunate today to have Dr. Spolyar, who was actually the founder of Long Beach State Crew, and I can say that now that I know the whole story. I always thought that Bill Lockyer, who I rode for in 1969 and 1970, was the initial founder of Long Beach State Crew. But here you're going to hear the story of the person who actually hired Bill Lockyer to be the coach.
Okay.
Lud?
No, in 1955, I began my job at Long Beach State as activities advisor. I was back graduate school service, and we had a men's club, and we were wondering, what can the club do? What type of activity? Well, at that time, down at the Marine Stadium, the Olympic Four were preparing for the 1956 Olympics in Australia. And so they were here, in the springtime, working here. And working out. And so I suggested inviting those four men to come up here with the coach, come to the campus, and talk about the rowing and crew and the Olympics. And we invited the coach, and we invited the sports editor of the Long Beach paper, and also the coach at UCLA, and I think his first name was Bob, and I wish I knew his last name because he was a great help to us. Well, after the smoker, that's what we call a meeting for guys in those days. You use that term for different things nowadays, but anyhow, so after that, I asked, and we had about 9 guys there in attendance. And later I asked him, I said, would you guys be interested in starting a crew team? And they said yes. And so let's start talking, and we got to know Bill Lockyer because he used to use his skull, or ride his skull down here, work out, great guy. And we got to know Pete Archer. And the next thing you know, Orange Coast College donated us a shell. It was the heaviest shell I've ever lifted because it had fiberglass on it. But it was ours, and they gave it to us. And then UCLA donated oars for us. And then I found out that there was a gentleman here in Long Beach. He was the attorney for the city of Long Beach. And I think his name was Les Still. I apologize if I mispronounced his name, but a nice guy. He was from Long Beach. He rode for Cal. And I contacted him and said, could you come down and kind of teach our fellas how to row? And he said, yeah. And he came down. He spent several times. And then I said, we've got a race scheduled in a couple of weeks with the UCLA Frosh. You should have seen the look on his face. Well, needless to say, eventually the day came when we were going to go up in the area where the UCLA rows. I'm pretty sure it was UCLA or USC. And now, where that is located, it's on a big canal that goes out into the ocean. And the only time you can row up there was when the tide was in. And so we had to be there at a certain time. And so our guys were kind of fiddling around, getting used to the shell and the oars and stuff like that. And the coach says, look, we got to get going on this race. He said, because the tide's going out. And so the race was going to be You had to go down to get the starting line, down towards the ocean, and then you would row back. So we did that, and then the race came back for the finish line, and we took second. UCLA took first. And that happens also when we took second when we raced USC freshmen. But Orv Clay, I'll never forget, after he came back, after the race, and he was huffing and puffing. And he says, we rode down to the starting line, he says, and we were getting pooped. We were really getting tired. And he said, I was hoping we would have a chance to rest. He said, but as soon as we turned the shell around, some guy, and he used the word guy, but he meant something else, said, row, and we had to row all the way back. And needless to say, our team was not in condition, but by heart, they were great. And that got us started. And then Bill Lockyer, what a jewel. Bill owned a grocery store here in town, and he came down and devoted hours of time working with these young men and really helping out. And at the end of the season, I had to go back to Michigan State to finish my graduate work, and so Bill took over the coaching. And let me say, I have had no experience with crew. But on paper, I was the official coach of the team because I was an employee of Long Beach State. And this is where I believe that Bill got hired for $1 a year to be the official coach for the team. And it was the best investment Long Beach State ever had. They got that. And Pete Archer was a champ. He was really supportive of that. And some of the guys on the team, I would love to see them again. I remember I mentioned Orv Clay, Lyle Miller, I think was there, and Dick Cranville, and Tim, a tall, thin guy, awfully nice. And then there was a guy I think that spent a couple years at West Point, but he was enrolled at Long Beach State. Not all real wonderful guys. And I think the coxswain we had at the time, I can't remember his name, it was an Irish name, and he worked nights at the police station. And when we had practice at 7 in the morning, sometimes he didn't make it. And a couple times I had to get in and be the coxswain. And it added a little more power to the guys.
They didn't all show up all the time either, did they?
No.
So they would row with.
And sometimes I would row.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
So you'd fill in an empty seat.
Yeah.
Okay.
And but it was here. These guys, we were using equipment that we borrowed or was given to us. But these guys really tried to do their very best, and they were the foundation of this. And now, when I see all these facilities are already shelved, and all the awards, and all the environment of this, I just can't believe it. It's just beautiful. And I want to thank people like Bill Lockyer and Pete Archer and all the guys from the early days through today. The coaches, the guys, and the women is fantastic. And I owe them a special thanks. I'll tell you why. I'm in Rotary, and about 3 years ago, Rotary has a different motto every year. And about 3 or 4 years ago, The motto was "Make dreams real," and that's what all you guys have done for me. You made my dream real. Thank you. Keep pulling those oars, and good luck.
Well, thank you.
That's okay.